Hey y'all. Um, Couple of things I wanted to cover and go over with you all about the brake job on the '04 Dodge Ram pickup. Um, Front brakes, that is. One is I did not say anything about the gravity bleeding. Um, I should have made it specified and made it very clear that when you walk away from it during a gravity bleed, what I do is I normally will go and let me turn. I'll normally go and take the brake lead screw, break it loose, and let it drain for maybe 2, 3, maybe even as much as 5 minutes. Come back, tighten it up, and then I'll check my brake pedal. Okay, and if I'm happen to be there and watch it bleed out, then I can see, oh hey, the air's come out, all the air's out, the more air's coming out, shut it off. You know, but in that particular case, I didn't have that option. I didn't have that luxury. So, anyway, I guess you could call this as part two because I'm now working on here on the other side. Got the caliper already off, as you can see right here. Um, I think there's not a heck of a lot of differences here. Now, on this side, the caliper is basically is just backwards from the other side. Okay, because it doesn't up here. It's got that protrusion, and then down here it's got this protrusion. Okay, and this side has this part here that goes under on the brake caliper bracket. Okay, so let me just hang this caliper up here just a minute because it's getting kind of in the way. But yeah, so yeah, that portion right there, that little ledge, that step portion, goes into the brake caliper bracket right there in there. So it goes. This side would be just backwards of the other side. Okay. So I just wanted to bring that up and address that with you all. Um, Another thing is, while some people may heavily criticize how I compress my pistons, um, how I do it is just very simple, very easy, very direct. I don't waste a lot of time with a bunch of fluff and a bunch of stuff that I don't need. Okay, so I will use an old pad. Okay, I'll take an old pad and I'll put it back in the caliper. Position the caliper like on my knee. Oops, sorry about that. But you can see I've got the caliper positioned on my knee, and then I'll use a C-clamp. Now I know a lot of people will say, "Hey man, you can get a tool to compress all of that. Compress those at like Walmart or something like that, or AutoZone or what have you." And yeah, you can, but this tool does it too. And I already have this laying around in a toolbox, so I don't see much sense in spending money on stuff that I don't really need. I mean, if I was doing like several brake jobs, 2 or 3 brake jobs a day, I'd be like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and let's do the let's get that really nice compressing tool, compress the pistons in there, and let's do that. But thing is, I'm not going to do that. I don't feel like it's necessary. because I got the pistons pressed back in their bores with a C-clamp and one of the old pads. So, get the line here so you can see real easily. See what I'm talking about? So, there we go. All right, I've got a lot of cleaning to do, got a lot of work to do. So, I'm going to pause this and show you a little bit more in a minute. This side is, like I said before, is pretty much the same as the other side. I just noted the differences in the caliper from one side to the next. You know, this little piece here, which will go down into the caliper bracket and fit into that. Okay, be back in just a minute. Okay, y'all. This red material I have on the back of the brake pads, that is an anti-squeal material. Okay, it will keep the pads from, when they move around, it basically keeps them from moving around. It kind of basically just glues them to the caliper, which is actually really nice. So I love using this stuff when I do a brake job because it is really, really good. These are the Wagner thermal quiet pads. So and so when I say I clean like the brake caliper bracket and the caliper and all of this stuff, I'm cleaning it to get off all the grease and the rust and the dust and the dirt. So that's why the bracket doesn't look all that great. It still looks kind of dirty, but where it counts is where it's clean. So like where these guide clips go on, they go on, and that's where I clean. Okay, so that's what I wanted to address. I wanted to get that squared away there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put the caliper on, and when you're putting the caliper on, take your time and just be careful. Don't hammer it or thrust, try to force it on. If it's not going on, there's probably a really good reason why. Oh, this red stuff that's on the pads, it is very, very sticky. Even can be sticky for like years. So just be aware. And I know some people may say that the grease on the anti-rattle clips, or these stainless steel guides here, the grease on those is not necessary, that it just attracts dirt. It may go ahead and attract some dirt, but you know what? I'll live with it. I'd rather have that little bit of dirt they're going to have on there and keep the pads moving and floating about on there. That's kind of one of those things. You're a darned if you do and darned if you don't kind of deal. Another thing is, when you're trying to get these on, the pads on, tap them a little bit with a hammer, especially when you got them lined up and everything and they're still not going on. Just give them a little tap with a hammer on one end. I usually put one end in, I tap the other end in with a hammer, and they go right on. So another thing, these caliper mounting caliper bracket bolts have to be very, very tight. So just yeah, really tight like that. Really put some muscle into it. So and wouldn't hurt to double check them too. Okay, yeah, that way there's no possible way they're going to come loose. All right, I'm going to pause this and show you a little bit more in just a minute. Okay, here's something I forgot to mention earlier. When I talk about cleaning the guides, these guide pins here that are sitting in those rubber grommets, it's a good idea to just push them out completely and then clean out the interior of those bellows, those rubber boots. Clean those out, put new fresh grease in, and then put the guide pins back in, which are just, they're just tubular pieces of tubular steel. That's all they are. Okay, so you know, the purple grease you see, you know, high temperature brake grease. So let's see if I can do this. Can I do it? Yeah. Okay, am I doing this right? Gotta hope so. Okay. Let's get, can I get a line around here? You see? Okay. So anyway, okay, so all right. Okay, I'm gonna have to set you down and I'll pause this, be right back. Okay, y'all, got it all back together. I'm doing the gravity bleed here, and the pressure of the fluid up in the master cylinder is basically pushing down through the lines and in through here. You can see this right here. Lots of times I like to let the lines just kind of fall where they may, and then usually they'll kind of almost line themselves up, but in this case not necessarily. So this is basically the way it's supposed to be, but I'm just not crazy about this kind of way that's made right there. So I guess that's the way it is. One thing to be aware of, this right here, this side, the driver's side, has this double junction right here where two lines are coming in to this to that block right there. One thing to keep aware of, this clip, you need to put that clip in. That needs to probably be about the last thing you do. You have two lines to thread in, so make sure they both thread in and you get them tight. So it's very easy to overlook that. Okay, so yeah, it's very easy to overlook that. So make sure you got that tight. All right, and that clip is just a open clip, and it goes in one way. There's a groove in the bottom of this block here for that clip to fit into it, and it just holds this in place with this bracket right here. Okay, and then of course we got the bracket right here for the line itself. So, and then yeah, let's see. Okay, I'll show you on the old line here what I was talking about, that groove for that clip to fit into. And if you notice, this has a flat on one side of that. So see, there's a groove and there's a flat. So that way this line only goes in there, in that bracket there, one way. So okay, so there's no way to jack that up, mess that up. Okay, all right, this is pretty much all done. I'm going to let this gravity bleed another couple of minutes, and then I'm going to shut it off, and I think it will be time to put the wheels on. I'm going to I'm going to make sure, test the pedal out before I put the wheels on. I think we're really, really close to being done, which is great. All right. I really appreciate everybody for watching. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions about this or any other video, be sure to, you know what to do, just post it down below. I'll do my very best to answer your questions. Thank you so much. I really seriously do appreciate over 420 subscribers. I mean, it's just growing and growing and growing, and I'm really just, you know, kind of shocked. But anyway, all right, so thank you very much, and have a good day. God bless. Have a great one.